Hey guys, it's Katie over here, and today it's Monday, and you guys know what that means. It's Katie's video, but this week we're gonna put a little change on it. Usually we do happy videos that are upbeat and us laughing and moving around and all that fun stuff. But we figured we are a few weeks in. We already have 11 subscribers about 4 weeks into this channel, which is so insane. I thank you guys so much, all 11 of you. We all agreed that since this week we are so far into this channel, far in already to this channel, we figured we should go ahead and talk to you guys about challenges or anything like that we have. We've already all filmed these once and we were all together, but we all agreed that it would be better off for us all to do them by ourselves. So this week they're going to be anywhere from 5 to 30 minutes long. So let's get started. Okay, guys, the thing I want to talk to you guys about is something that not a lot of people address, because a lot of people either don't have it or ignore it, or people that don't have it think that it's not a big deal, when it can be a little bit harder than it seems to be, a little bit more challenging. And it's something that I struggled with since I was in 2nd grade, and I wanted to make sure you guys knew how hard it is. And if there are you guys with it, then I hope to God this helps you. Okay. And then we're talking about ADHD and ADD, because those are things that I have, and people think that it's not as bad as depression or anxiety or anything like that. But in my case, it's just as equal. It's just as equal. It's the same amount. It isn't as worse. It isn't worse. It isn't better. It is the same amount of pain. It's the same amount of struggle. It's the same amount of work than those two things. And a lot of people think it's not a big deal because it makes you hyper or not be able to pay attention in school. But believe me, it sucks. I'll start with my beginning of this. In 2nd grade, I was in a normal day class, and the teacher told me that I had to sit behind her while we were doing our spelling test. I was so worried because that's what the kids that got in trouble did, and everyone thought I got in trouble. And from then on, I had to sit behind her when we took tests. She told me every week I wasn't in trouble, but I always still had that little piece in my mind. And my sister, shout out to her, was the one that actually kind of told me that I had it, and I knew what it was. I knew that it existed. I knew, and I was in about 4th grade, and that's 2 years of having it without knowing, or like being diagnosed with it without knowing. So I was like, Allison, people keep treating me different. What's going on? I don't understand. I keep hearing Mom talking to Dad about something wrong with me, and I'm so scared. I don't know what's going on. She was like, oh, you just have some disabilities. I was like, what is that supposed to mean? What disabilities? She's like, me, Mom, Dad, Cole, all agreed that we wouldn't tell you. I was like, what do you mean it's me? And she's like, it's none of your business. I'm like, it's something wrong with me. I think I want to know. And she told me. She was like, oh, you have this thing called ADHD and ADD. I was like, okay, because I knew what it was, and I didn't see it as big as a thing. And when my mom figured out, that's when I started to have my medicine, when she figured out that I knew. And I started on my medicine in 4th grade, and that helped me hyper down. But my mom says that I was a bitch when I had it. That every time I had it, I was a grumpy piece of shit, and I would talk all the time. And once I was in about 5th grade. Me and my sister got diagnosed with some things that were opposite of me, and we would have heated fights all the time about how hers is worse than mine and how it just makes me happy. And she's like, I would kill to be happy all the time. And she didn't know how much that would hurt, because it hurts. And I was called annoying my whole life, especially once people figured out that I had it. They called me annoying constantly. And my only really close friends were my friend named Maddie, who I'm still friends with. Hi Maddie, if you're watching this. And my friend Christian. And they were my 2 closest friends. And I met both of them in 5th grade. And one of them had ADHD as well. And we were all best friends. We had so much fun together. We would make these little fake wands and sell them to the other kids for like fake money. And it was a lot of fun. It was the first time I really guessed fit in. And then that summer I figured out I was moving. And it was probably one of the saddest news I've ever found. And the night we decided that we were moving was the night I was supposed to go see not my teachers, go to the middle school I was supposed to go to, and go around and see like all the fun stuff that they usually do and all that, and all the things you get to do with your friends. And I got to bump into my friends. And one of my close friends, who I haven't mentioned yet, her name was Catherine, and she was one of my best friends. I've known her since I was a little itty bitty baby. Even though we didn't talk a lot, we always had that bond. This is a perfect song. Not really. Oh, I thought it was Sale for some reason. And we were walking around the school, and we saw her. And my mom was like, Katie, have you told her the news? And I was like, no, I just figured out tonight. And she's like, okay, well, why don't you tell her? And I told her, I was like, I'm moving to Florida. And she just hugged me, and she wouldn't let go. And I wouldn't let go. And the next day, I had to go to school, and I had to tell all of my friends. I had to tell all of them that I was leaving in 2 months to Florida, which was a month after my birthday. No, 2 months after my birthday. So it was May. And that's probably one of the hardest things I've ever had to do, because it was just hard next to leaving. Because when you finally fit in and then it's taken away from you, I don't even know how to explain that feeling. But I was also having to face the fact that I was leaving all my family, because basically all my family lived in Tennessee. And I had to leave my Nana and Papa, all my cousins, my aunt, my uncle, my other aunt, my other uncle. One of my cousins was getting married that year, and because we were moving, I wouldn't be able to go. And I don't know, it was difficult. And I also had to face the fact that the only way for me to get to church, which was the biggest thing for me back then, was going to church every single Sunday, and it's probably the best part of my week. Was when I would either stay at my Nana's Saturday and go to church Sunday, or she'd pick me up Sunday and go to church with her, because my parents wouldn't bring me. I had no one else to bring me, you know. So I had to figure out how to deal with that. And it was pretty hard. And one of my uncles moved down to Tennessee, and I was so happy. I loved him. I missed him. He moved down like the year before 4th grade. And he moved down. He got sick, and he went to a hospital, and then he went to an old people's home. And he got out, and it was about a few days before 4th of July, which was about a week or 2 before we left. Me and my mom were going out and buying stuff, and we saw him, and he was just saying that he felt the best he had ever felt. And we were making plans for him to get picked up and all that stuff for 4th of July. And he was like, I was able to get out of bed this morning. I don't have to use my wheelchair. I feel great. I feel great for the first time in years. And me and my mom were so happy. And we went shopping and we went home. About 3 hours later, I hear my mom crying. And I'm like, what's going on? And my dad comes out and he's like, your Uncle Richard died on the way to the hospital. I was like, what? Are you kidding? You're kidding, right? He's like, would we kid about that? And I just sat there and I cried. And I still cry a lot. I miss him. And I never got to see him before I left. Anyway, I moved, yada yada yada, started middle school, and I had to make all these new friends, and I had to regain what I had before. And I had to regain what I had before, the friends that I had, the fitting in that I had. And I met one of my best friends that is still one of my best friends, Sierra, and I love her to death. She goes through some of the stuff I do, but it started again. It started getting on me, and I stopped my medicine, so it came back, and it was so horrible. I would be doing my math homework at home, and I'd be reading, and I would do a problem, and then I'd have my parents look at it when I was done, and they'd look at it, they'd be like, Katie, what are you doing here? I'm like, what do you mean? I did the work. They're like, Katie, you have completely different numbers. I would see a 24 where there was 120, and I was so confused, and I would like look back, and every time I looked back, and it was a different number, and it was horrible. I got bullied by one of my close friends, and she hated me because I was happy. And 6th grade, I was happy. I was good. 7th grade came, and things started getting a little worse. Sierra and me didn't have any classes together, and the year before we had every class except for 2 together, so we were like inseparable. So it was kind of hard to cope with that. And Maria and me, one of my other close friends, if you are on my main channel, you know, we were best friends, and we just stopped being friends. We grew apart by the end of the year. I met Maya and Angelina in the middle of the year, and we were just close. We weren't really best friends, and there was a lot of drama. There were like days where I would, because I'm a little controlling, and I just like to take charge, and that's how I am. That's how I've always been. They stopped being my friend for like a week, and I couldn't take it. I was so sad. And then me and Maria stopped being friends. And this summer is when things started picking up. When I say picking up, they got worse. I was just sitting at home doing my stuff. I was already kind of in a slump, but one night I just broke down for some reason. I just started breathing, and I heard these voices in my head, and they were telling me all this horrible stuff about me and all that, and then it stopped. So God, I went to sleep. Woke up in the morning, my sister wasn't there, my mom wasn't there, my dad wasn't there. They were all at work, except for my sister was at her friend's house. And I don't know what was happening. I don't know if I was having a panic attack or what was happening, but I just freaked out, and I was breathing really heavily and shaking, and I didn't even want my animals near me, and I was so hectic, and I don't know why. Stress just started building up, and I even considered quitting YouTube at that moment in time because of a lot of reasons. And I just was freaking out, and I had no one to go to. Me and Angelina weren't really talking at the time. Maya was in Texas, and I had no friends. I had no friends to talk to and nothing to do. So I just sat there and I took it all in, and it happened. A few weeks later, me, Maya, and Angelina had a sleepover, and that's when we declared our best friendship. And it was one of the best nights that I had in a while. And we had a ton of sleepovers. Things picked up a little bit. School started. And a few weeks ago, I just started freaking out. I was sitting on my iPad, and my iPad turned off. And that's kind of how I get away from things. I read, I text friends, I get away from things. And I had these little voices in my head again, just silently. Not silently, but quietly. Because I was on my iPad. But it died. I just sat there for a second, and then they started shouting or even talking. And they told me all these horrible things. And I started crying, and I was in a ball, and I couldn't move. My friends, I texted them, I got better. But, let's go back to the original topic of ADHD. ADHD is something that is horrible to me. It is horrible to live with. I have had to teach myself how to get over it. I had such a hard time with everything. Even sleeping is hard when you have ADHD, because you'll lay down to go to sleep, but one sheep will turn into one cow and one pig, and old MacDonald had a farm, and cock-a-doodle-doo, and E-I-E-I-O, and, what are you going to do tomorrow? What are you going to do? You just think, and you can't sleep, and it's like your body is exhausted, but your brain just won't shut up. And then at school, it's horrible, because your ADHD kicks in at school, and you can't pay attention. And it's just horrible. Everything you do, everything is a challenge. And I have had to work 135% my whole life, and it's so tiring. And my mom, when I was about 7 years old, got really sick, and she's still really sick. And she has all these things, and she has to take 2 shots a week, and she has all these medicines she has to take. And ever since I was like 7 years old, I've had to take care of her and myself, because my dad was either working or sleeping. My brother was never there, and my sister was going through a hard time herself. So I was always taking care of my mom, always taking care of myself, always cleaning, always doing homework, always taking care of someone. And fighting in my house started picking up with my sister and my parents, because she was in middle school and she was having a horrible time, and they would just fight about everything. And it eventually got so bad. Every time I got in the shower, which was one of my only escapes at the time, because I had no internet or anything to go on, I would just hear them yelling every day. Every day I got in that shower, I would hear yelling about one thing or another. And when I got out, I was like, what are you guys fighting about? And they were like, we're not fighting. It was that bad. And it was hard. I was like 8, 9, 10, 7, and I was hearing all this yelling and taking care of so many people at once, and I've been doing it my whole life. I've always taken care of my family and me and everything. And it gets overwhelming, because ADHD and ADD, taking care of everything, is so hard. And sometimes you just feel like giving the fuck up. You just want to stop. You just want everyone to leave you alone, and you just want to sit in a little dark corner and not see any words or pictures or anyone. You don't ever want to do anything. But I'm gonna finish really quick. When I was all my life, when I was little, and all that stuff, my everyone, like I said, called me annoying, and then it didn't affect me. Okay, and keep going. But for some reason it got worse, and one day me and my sister got in a fight, and she said something, and I became a mute for the rest of the day, until Maya was talking to me, and she made me laugh and then she made me talk, and I was so thankful for her. And then every time now someone can say one word and it will set me off. I will just go into this slump. People will say you're annoying, stop it, you're being annoying, and I won't talk. It doesn't matter to me how long I don't talk, I just won't talk. If I'm annoying, I'll just shut up, I'll just be quiet. And it just annoys me. And it's just gonna be so much harder, because if you guys didn't know, Maya is moving to Texas in 2 months, and she's the only person that has ever been able to make me from a mute to shouting on the top of my lungs. She is that friend that will hold me until I'm a pulp if she has to. She's that friend that will yell at me for doing something but then hold me and say she's sorry. She's a friend that not only would beat someone up for me, but be there for me, and no matter what happened, would care for me. And she's leaving, and it's hard because she says, I'll stay with you, I'll talk to you, but that's the exact words that I said to my friends in Tennessee. And 2 years later, I just found my 2 best friends in 5th grade. I just started talking to them not long ago. I still don't talk to Catherine. I have no idea what she looks like. I have no idea. If I saw her on the street, I couldn't recognize her. And I know how it is. It's hard, especially at first, when you move. You have no one, you have nothing, but you gain friends, they become your best friends, and you forget about the old ones. And believe me, I have Angelina, but sometimes me and her are falling out, or sometimes things happen, and we just won't talk, or she won't know what to say to get me to feel better, or I won't know what to say for her to get better, but it's just like whatever anyone else says doesn't matter. And I don't know. I just want you guys to know, if you're going through ADHD or ADD, it's something real. It's something that affects you your whole life. It's something that you have to get over. It's something that can hurt you. And if you guys didn't know, I look up the definition of ADHD or ADD. People with ADHD are more likely to get depressed than people that are depressed or have depression start off as a normal or a person without it. They start off with a person without it, and things happen, and it leads to depression. It leads to being depressed. People with ADHD are born with it, and they are more likely to become depressed. It is easier for them to become depressed and gain depression. It is also easier for them to get addicted to things. It is easier for them to get addicted to alcohol and to drugs and anything like that. And trust me, if you ever have said anything to someone with ADHD or ADD about it not being a real problem, or them being happy all the time is a blessing, take it back. Go to them right now and say you're freaking sorry. Because trust me, that one word, that one sentence can break them for the rest of their life. Because people used to tell me that all the time, and look where I am now. Okay? Life is And just because you have a different problems than them doesn't mean anything. Walk a mile in one of their shoes and you will see. You will see how difficult it is. You're not the only one with problems. I love you guys so much. Remember, feel better. Peace.